Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you are recharged and ready to take on the some of the final talks. And we will start off with some very inspirational talk titled "If Not Now, When." And our next speaker is Alda, who is an IT professional with almost 20 years of experience working as a part of Accenture Baltics leadership team. Her career path started very far from IT. And the first steps at Accenture were taken at the age of 30. The journey spans 2 continents and many professional and personal learnings ahead. Alda will share the story of her career growth in IT from her personal perspective, as well as her take on Accenture's research regarding gender equality during COVID-19. Let's give a warm welcome to our next speaker, Alda.
Thank you very much for introduction. I will leave my notes here. As always, a little bit nervous about speaking, but hopefully everything's going to go well. So to start this session with you and I wanted to reflect on the times that we're in. As you know, the times are quite, from one side, interesting and also difficult. And difficulty of these times varies. It varies by different people, by profession, also by possibly race and gender. Accenture last year for G20 Summit prepared and published research, which is called this, If Not Now, When? And it oversees the impact of COVID-19, specifically on gender equality. As I am a woman myself in IT, so I thought it's fitting that I'll start with this motivation. If not now, when? It's still very actual. It's still very actual that we have more technical skills. And that's the first part of my presentation. The second part is going to be my own personal journey from wherever I was to IT and where I am now. So I'll try to share my learnings and how I got there. So to start, again, there's a QR code if you're interested to read the whole research. What are the impacts of COVID-19 to women, which are a little bit more than for men? Of course, again, it's difficult for everybody. So women have seen their earnings decline by 16.5% compared to 10.1% for men. Twice as many women have lost jobs, so 5% versus 2.9%. Mothers' daily childcare time has increased by almost 30%, which is an hour and 20 daily. And the proportion of women with easy access to healthcare, and including maternal and reproductive services, has dropped from 69% to 32%. And on top of that, 50% of women experience higher stress at home compared to 15% before. So yes, times are difficult. In Accenture, we always say, do not waste a crisis. So what that means that in every crisis, there's something good. And in every struggle, that's a time when we make bigger changes in our lives, right? For better. As it's interesting formatting, slightly different than I saw before. Okay, either way, I'm not gonna drain this slide. It's just out of this research. Out of this research, Accenture came out with policy recommendations in 10 different areas, in all of these areas. So if you want to read more, again, on this slide, there's, again, QR code. It's a public research, you can read all of it. But I wanted just to point out the education and where the education policy recommendation is going. So policy recommendation for education is not only about accessibility of education to girls, but also about accessibility of technical, vocational, digital e-skills training for women, and for also lifelong learning opportunities, and STEM. So let's, it's still very relevant. Working in IT, I'm not sure if any of you are working in IT. I'd say these times are not that difficult for me besides isolation. It's my job is here, my salary is here. I don't have to worry about roof over my head. But that's the introduction. So this was the kind of like maybe the glum side. Next, I'll talk about my journey to IT. I will start from the very beginning, because I believe every learning that you have made in your life makes you better and brings you to a better place. And you can use these learnings and these skills that you have built from your childhood into your future and your career. So never underestimate your current experience or your past experience, because it all feeds into your future success. So yeah, my personal journey. I'll start back in my happy Soviet childhood. I'm not sure any of people here can share my experience, as it's a long time ago. During this time, in this phase of my life, I learned independence. Independence, because in those times, you had to go to school by yourself, to store by yourself. If you wanted to have a hobby, fine. If you can get yourself to and from the place, you can do it. My parents also did not really care if I started or stopped any of my hobbies. It was all up to me. So I was quite independent for that. Adaptability. Of course, there was not much entertainment. There was not much of anything during those times. And you had to adapt. You had to figure out. To that also comes the ingenuity. If you wanted something, you have to figure out how to get it. I was present while helped my dad to build the Vasarnica, the summer house. It took him 10 years to build it with his hands. And I learned from my mom to sew. I learned to cook. I learned to to garden, to make winter preserves. So again, those are the times and those are the things that I learned personally, because my years during independent Latvia time, I learned different things. I started learning that hard work pays off. Yes. I studied in Latvia University, business administration faculty. I was a minor in tourism. The entrance was 7-to-1 spot. So that I got in. I was happy about that. I also started working as many of you and also many of us then. I started working in travel industry in parallel. And I was able to start living independently. So the hard work paid off. I also had a lot of fun. During that time, I danced in a Latvian folk dance group. I traveled to some European countries with a group. I participated in 2 song and dance festivals. And of course, being in university, that was probably the most fun years of my life personally, because everything was new and exciting. English skills matter. The learning. I gained fluent English skills during my university years while basically from my Canadian husband-to-be. And by end of the studies, I was better at English than my university English teacher. And it was a slightly awkward meeting and speaking in English. I also learned the world is bigger and the world is different than just Latvia. I traveled my first trip to Alicante, Spain with a dance group. And I was shocked. I was shocked by many things. I was shocked that you can be given 12 roses being alive, you know. I was shocked that buildings are not adorned with Art Nouveau sculptures. And I was shocked that saying that I'm an atheist was a bad thing. A person actually stopped talking to me after I shared this. Of course, by then, my religious education was non-existent or understanding of the terms. Upon completing my studies, I joined my husband when he left for Canada, and there I also had to learn many things. I had to learn how to be a Canadian. In Canada, you have to be very polite, very nice. You have to say sorry at every step. You have to learn new social norms. You also have to learn how to use words like awesome and amazing, because nice and okay, it doesn't cut it. It means that you barely did the minimum, yes? I had to learn how to be a Latvian Canadian, because, of course, Latvian is my identity, but in this multicultural city of Toronto, you see that your Russian colleagues and your other post-Soviet colleagues are actually so close to you culturally that you might not have noticed while living in Latvia. And this point also, as I said, I started working in travel industry, right? In Latvia, it was a great job. Interesting, well-paid, well-respected. Going to Canada, after I got my rights to work, started in travel industry because I have experience, but it was a different market. No respect, not much pay, and after 9 years of working in this career, where I basically felt like I know everything, I'm at best I can be in this industry, but I'm only making money that meets my needs month to month, right? I started thinking, what else am I good at? I had two topics in my mind. I always liked women's studies and I'm interested about this feminism and gender equality and things like that. But that seemed a bit abstract for a career. And I'm happy that I get to do it now on top. And other side, I was thinking, well, I'm good with computer. I've always been good at computer, like Excel. I think that time it was Lotus Notes or something, right? I also did some graphic design for Latvian community in Canada. I had studied Sabre and Amadeus for travel industry, right? And those are pretty, you know, coding-like systems, yeah? They're very technical. So I decided, yes, I will try to do IT. Since I already had a degree from university, I did not want to study another 4 years in university because it's expensive. At this point, I was no longer married, but that's just a detail, right? Because I have to support myself. I have to support myself. I have to studies cost money, the same as in Latvia. And so I decided to take a 1-year program, which is a postgraduate degree. In this program, they taught us Visual Basic, Java, HTML, SQL, and some other topics. So very hands-on. While I was studying, I was also working as a waitress because you could not do like a full-time work to combine with studies. And yes, so only after actually finishing this school where I did well, the teachers were great, and studies came fairly easy for me. I realized that both of my parents come from IT. And it's kind of like a paradox, right? Because I don't know about your parents. My parents did not talk about their work at home. I did not know, like, the fact that my mom has been a programmer till her retirement did not even register with me because it was never present. She was a mom, you know. We did not talk about code, about importance of IT or tech skills, anything like that. So yeah, I finished the school, and that was the first time I tried to come back to Latvia. I came to Latvia in 2003. I got a job with Datorikas Institūts 2, programming Visual Basic. But after 3 months, I realized that 200 lats salary, living with my parents after a long time when I was living independently, and again, just surviving on the salary, and also maybe the society or even the atmosphere in the company was not so what I had been used to in Canada. So I went back. I went back to the smiling and polite bus drivers of Toronto that say good morning to you when you get on. So now I had to, again, working in waitressing job and looking for opportunities for IT job. I came upon internship ad for Accenture. So I applied. I was very happy to get in. So spring of 2004, I started as a Java intern at Accenture Canada, and did the 4 weeks of Java bootcamp. Then they decided they put us in 4 weeks of ABAP bootcamp for SAP. But the first project that I actually worked on was on Visual Basic. So they saw my previous Visual Basic skills, and they took me there. So to this point, I have never professionally programmed Java. So the environment's quite dynamic. My first project was Japan Tobacco. It was on the 62nd floor of 72-floor tall building in center of Toronto Financial District. And that was quite exciting. My colleagues at Accenture did notice my maturity and my experience, maybe my communication skills, my knowledge how to work with people, and they appreciated it. 2 years later, I was dev lead, and 4 years later, I moved to business analysis. And during this business analysis journey further, I became also like engagement lead. So yes, so that's already my Accenture journey. And I moved from intern to a manager in 7 years. For Accenture standards, it is quite quick if you're in technology. And I would also say that this is part of my skills and my learnings before that had taken part gave me the ability to progress faster than maybe some people who were just out of the university. This true self-confidence, exactly, it was a point that I learned through the specter of how other people viewed me, how they gave me the opportunities, how they trusted me to step up and do more and do better. Also, knowing your strengths is something that you learn only through your challenges. And sometimes some tools like Gallup Strengths Finder can help you to identify them. But generally, also very important to take the stretch roles, to go for stretch roles. Maybe it is not part of our Latvian culture, but asking for what you want or asking for what you're interested in. Also be ready that it's not always going to be a yes answer or right away answer. But in general, if you have trust with your colleagues, you'll see that they find and they look for these opportunities to help you achieve your goals. Also, appreciating diversity. Of course, working in a multicultural environment, being in Toronto, that's one. But Accenture, again, it's multicultural on the next level. You're working with people from not only different ethnicities, also from different locations. And this is where you can gain also benefit for yourself. Helping them, helping you, it all is in a positive both from your own development and also for the product that you're working on. So yeah, after 10 years at Accenture in Canada, I decided to do my second return to Latvia, and this time it stuck. It was a bit easier as I was already an IT manager and coming to a leading position in Latvian team, Accenture. Still, none of the changes are easy, and I'm glad that I can share my story with you, and I can also kind of hopefully inspire you not only to start IT journey, but also to continue and to trust yourself. And this is probably not what I would have felt, or if somebody asked me when I was 20, 22, 25, 27, this confidence that I have right now, it really comes from experience. But you should always trust yourself because you are already strong. It's only that we sometimes doubt ourselves, right? So yeah, so that is my story. I'm open for questions if we have time. And if you're interested to try, Accenture Baltics has a really good reskilling program. That is, or if you know somebody who could use it. As myself, I started IT fairly late. I had a colleague who started her IT career at 36. She had raised two children at home. Again, she went to educate herself, and she started the same day as me, and she has a very successful career as well. So we still have a lot of time till retirement, so there's never too late to make the changes. And again, let's not waste the crisis that we have right now, and take this opportunity to gain new skills and move towards IT.